All right, and welcome back, season 2. Here we are. I'm so excited. I'm with my best friend here, guys. So welcome to the podcast. We're two sisters, tackle the underappreciated world of customer service. I am your host, Ashley.
And I'm Tiffany.
And welcome to Please Hold. All right, so we're going to talk about guilt tipping.
What's
Not
that?
to be... Not guilt tripping.
Not guilt trip.
Just guilt tipping.
Guilt
So guilt tipping, well, tipping, I guess, what do you kind of feel before we go into the definition of it? What do you kind of feel like guilt tipping is?
Guilting, making me feel bad that I have to tip you for something that maybe I normally wouldn't. So I think, what is it?
Yeah, right. You're 100% on target.
Okay.
So yes, guilt tipping is basically peer pressure at its most at the register, at your checkout. I don't know, roll the eyes. It's like, I hate it.
Oh, it's such a thing. Like, I don't understand, like, why we're being forced to tip on everything that we're doing. Like going to the bakery or going to get some cookies. It's like, as soon as they flip the screen, I got to tip.
Right.
Or like, I'm prompted to tip. Like, that's not something that I would have normally done, I guess, like pre-COVID. Like, I feel like it's just, I feel like it started during or after, like, while COVID was happening, or, when it started. And then now all of a sudden, everything, tip.
Yeah.
I'm tired of tipping.
Well, I'm tired of tipping too. Like, that's why we're talking about this
Girl,
today.
don't have the funds to keep on tipping.
Well, that's the major part, is that it's become too expensive to go out just to do normal things, like we'll talk about grocery shopping, which is ridiculous. But, traditionally tips are for, as a way to show your gratitude when, you have been able to, when the waiter or someone who is giving you service has done an exceptional job, right? They've gone over and beyond. So that is what we, traditionally we have, looked at or used tips for. But now it is, it has surpassed that, right?
Yeah.
So it's like when we go to, like you said, go and grab some cookies, now they flip the screen and it's like, just because you flip, don't mean I got a tip, right? And it's automatically at 20, 25, 30%.
Yes, and that's the thing. Like, why is a tip so high? Like, usually it's about like 5, you could do 5% or 8% or something. But now it's just like, now I have to, like, it's automatic 15, 20, 30%. Like, good Lord. Like, I don't understand what's going on. Maybe employers, what do you think? Employers are not paying their people well enough, so they're expecting customers to compensate for that?
Yeah, I think that is a major part of it. I was also reading that, they have the ability to be able to put that money or to put that amount on those preset amounts on the screen. But also, I was reading that the manufacturers at the, let's say, like Square or something like that, they also get a percentage of the transaction. So, right.
Oh, come on.
So there's the incentive for those companies to be able to, like, hey, well, sometimes business owners can't change it. Like, so based upon if they're, your purchase is $15 and now you're doing 20%. Now, so combined, and once it totals up, that, not only is the business getting that, right? But now you got the interchange fees of the whatever, if you're using a debit card or a credit card, and then a credit card, and then you've got the manufacturer who is like Square or Shop or whatever it may be that are receiving that kickback as well.
So everybody's just getting a piece of my cookie money. Is what you're saying.
Everyone's getting a piece of your cookie.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So it's really, it sucks. Like, so, thing said that like nearly a quarter of people say they always feel pressure to tip when the option is presented. And 42% say they sometimes feel pressured. Like, they're guilting you into, choosing that 10%, that 15%, that 20%, 25, 30.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I'm sorry. I cannot think of anything that requires a 30% tip.
Yeah, maybe if you put a new roof on my house, I might give you a 30% tip.
Hell
But
no, not a new roof. That's just, I can't afford a new roof, period. So I'm not tipping you. I'm sorry. That
I'm
is
just
no,
saying
like,
it would have to be like something like I could not do this. So, and I appreciate, obviously, well, I'm going to pay you for your job, but, something that's really large, that I would be like, oh, wow, like you did a great job, or like you went over and, beyond for me to give like a really high tip. But I don't think ever in life I've ever tipped anybody higher than 20%.
yeah, no. I think I've done maybe 25%. You've got to be freaking Buzz Lightyear for me to be going over and beyond for
Right.
30%.
I gotta be eating caviar at the house and be giving you 34%.
Right. You better bring that and spoon it into my mouth for 30%. I'm sorry. That is
God.
like, it's, I mean, I need some grapes with like honey, like dripping down. I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah.
it's not happening.
Yeah, you're not getting these coins.
No.
These are sacred coins here. But you know what? I think something that I thought about was that with tipping, there's always been a tip jar. Whenever you go and you've seen this little raggedy thing, maybe like it used to be a gumball box or something, candy container, and it was like written on there, tips.
Yeah.
So maybe like because we've entered into this digital world, this cashless world,
Yeah.
that now people don't carry cash, don't carry coins with them anymore. So this is kind of like, okay, well, we got to find a way to still like show your appreciation to the person that's helping you.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's why it's turned into more of a digital and it's more in your face kind of thing instead of your rinky dinky candy container that's sitting there with a handwritten note says tips. So I think that maybe, it wasn't always so in your face, but that's kind of like where we're at now. Because I know today, like I was getting some food and I saw a tip jar and it was a rinkety dinky little container and there was like 3 dimes in it.
Yeah.
But I bet you for their entire day, they got 15% tips, the 20% tips, 18% tips on their card reader.
Yeah.
More than them 3 dimes sitting in that thing. So, and because they got guilt tipped,
Guilt tipped.
guilted tipped, or yeah,
Guilt tipping tipped.
it's gonna get weird if I just keep on saying it.
No, I agree. Like, I don't carry cash a lot on me. Normally when I go to the grocery stores, like normally when I try to take out like cash, I'll, give me some cash back. But I mean, for the most case, like I don't carry cash on me. So it's a good point. Like we've moved to this digital age and space where, it's easier for people to choose a tip when they're checking out. But in that same breath, it's kind of like when you put that pressure on people, I think people start to feel guilty because they don't want to feel like a jerk or like a cheapskate if they don't choose to tip, right?
Yeah.
And I think like I had read an article where I think it was on CNBC, where they were stating that like more people, people feel that like if they are presented with the option to tip, more than likely they're not going to tip, or they're just like they'll tip really, really low.
Yeah.
And like for me, I don't think that employers, companies, businesses should impose that uncomfortable, like socially awkward, feeling on forcing that on their customers, right? Because we're already paying for the service.
Right.
I'm paying for the food. I'm paying for whatever I bought at your store. And for me, depending on how expensive it is, that's a lot of money to be saying, okay, I made like a $200 to $300 purchase and now I've got to do, you're presenting me with a 20% tip.
Right.
Like that's a lot of money.
Yeah. I mean, I know I get nervous still, like when the screen is turned, swiveled over to me and it's like automatically, they flip it, they do their little thing on side, boom, 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 boom. And there's the tip screen. I'm like, 15, 20, 25. Okay. No.
Right.
Really quick. And, sign my name. And I feel like guilty because I know they can see it, and it's like, I'm not trying to say no.
They're going to talk about you when you leave the store.
Yeah. But I mean, you can do that, sis, if you want, but you still ain't getting the tip.
Right.
But even like I went to this little boutique store they had a candle that I love, and I bought the just one candle. I don't think the candle was like $32, and that is high for a candle. Now I'm thinking about it when I say that out loud.
Yeah.
But yes, I did buy a candle for $32, and then it was a tipping screen, and I was just like, I don't want to pay like $4 more just because you're checking me out. Like, isn't that your job? Like, I have to tip you for shopping in your store. Like, I get it. Maybe you're not, you're a sales associate, so you're not in control of the screen. But I think as whoever put those, machines in their store, that you should probably take that option off of there and tap, pay, swipe, whatever, and sign. Like, I don't think in those kind of instances I have to tip, or I should be even pressured or even given the option to tip.
Yeah, well, that's a great point, because it really goes back and falls back on the employer, right? If you're imposing that tip on your customers, it states to me that maybe you're not paying your employees enough.
Yeah.
Right? So why I'm already servicing your store and I'm putting money back into your business. Why do I now have to add and pay for your employee and for a service that really, I mean, if I picked a candle up off of the shelf and I brought it to the register, I did my own shopping, right? You didn't pick this candle out for me. You didn't suggest a scent. You didn't do anything. This was me going in, knowing what I wanted to buy already, purchasing it, and now I'm imposed with a tip. And if it falls back on the employer, I think the employer needs to really take a step back and say, if we are choosing to put in a tip system, are we paying our employees enough? And, a lot of these, we had talked about this earlier, is that a lot of these industries where tips are coming into play, these employees are minimum wage workers, right? They're $7, $8, maybe $11 an hour, which frankly is not enough to survive on. It's just not.
Yeah.
And it's really unfair to the employee, and it's really unfair to the customer in general.
Yeah, I know. I totally agree. Like, let's start here, Georgia. Just go ahead and increase the minimum wage. Come on, stop playing.
Well, and Georgia has done a better job of doing that. Actually, I also have.
Oh, you got notes?
I've got notes, y'all.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Prepared.
So,
well, come on, season 2.
Right, I know. Look, I'm coming prepared for season 2. Y'all ain't gonna do this. But I've got the 10 U.S. states that give the most generous tips. You guys, you want to hear it?
Yeah, sorry. Pack our bags. Let's go.
Yeah.
Where we going?
All right. So most generous on average tips, right? California is at the top.
They better.
Well, yeah.
Come on.
I mean, it makes sense because everything is God. It's expensive. It's ridiculous. 22.64% is the average. That's a lot of tipping. Missouri comes in at second. Florida, where things get real weird, the state where things get really weird, 21.68%. We got Arizona, Rhode Island, and the number 10 spot is Georgia at 19%. So we got up there with the tipping. Yeah, we slid in at 10, right at the 10th place. Now, the worst. No, I wouldn't say the worst, because even these numbers really, ideally, are still actually pretty good. for tipping, okay? Because my cheapskate ass, like,
ooh, can I guess?
Yeah. Who do you think the worst is?
Alabama.
Alabama's not on here.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if they.
Sorry, any Alabamians.
Yeah. Sorry. Right. Exactly.
No shade.
No, that was definitely shade, because she was like, "Oh no, it's Alabama for sure." Alabama didn't even make the list, y'all. It's Illinois with 14.22.
They're a little bitter up there.
Yeah, it's cold.
It's cold.
They don't want to. They don't want to stay in
for anymore.
Nope, not trying to.
Gotcha.
We got Mississippi with 14.98. And then as the list goes down, it gets better, right?
Okay.
So number 10 spot, where they don't do too bad. It's actually 16.23 for Utah.
Okay, Utah.
Not bad. Okay. Come through. So we've got, Georgia, we came in at a good time, y'all. Okay. So those are some of the worst states, but really it goes back to the minimum wage, like you had said.
I mean, I think overall, I mean, one, I've see people complain about it all the time. I'm not going to shy away from it. Like I've, also hit hard times, and like our salaries are not matching. Okay, anywhere. Like
Oh, don't get me started because we will have a whole
your girl wants to be on turquoise water on yachts drinking champagne, but maybe there's no salary that's going to make me let me do that. But in the meantime, like we just need to get these, our salaries up. Everyone, everywhere, and especially customer service jobs. I mean, we always come back to this. Like people in customer service deserve to be paid more. And when you think about it, there's a lot of customer service jobs. And I can tell you one that's a customer service job. They may not seem like customers, but these people do the Lord's work. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I can't. Yeah, I don't even know.
Teachers. Oof. I wouldn't dare be a teacher nowadays. Okay. These children are out of control. But in a sense, like that's someone that is serving parents and making sure and taking care of these little ruthless children out here.
Not ruthless. I mean, wow, y'all, she really got to something to say. Not the kids being ruthless.
Have you just look at TikToks, okay?
I've seen them.
But, I've seen some in the neighborhood. They're ruthless. Okay?
What teachers should be tipped to?
I'm not saying they should be tipped. I just said they should be paid more. Yes, I'm not going to school and tipping out. I'm going to need a fourth job.
Well, because teachers, I mean, not to get off topic here, but you brought the topic.
Okay.
Like teachers, they have to reach into their own pockets to pay for school supplies. That's a whole nother conversation for maybe another podcast. Maybe not this one, but
is there a teacher podcast out there? Hit us up. We got some feedback.
Yeah, right. Like the fact that they had to reach into their own pockets to supply supplies for their classroom is beyond me. Yeah. But anyways, yes, minimum wage should come up. Definitely teacher salaries. Come on, we can do better out here. But going back to the opposite effect of how tipping has an effect on the customer. Not only do the customers feel like, oh, well, I don't want to be a jerk, or I don't want to be a cheapskate, and I don't want them to think badly about me, but they also it has like more of a psychological effect on them where they are like, well, they're going to give me terrible service once they, turn that back around if I don't tip.
Yeah.
Right. And so they're like, oh, well, and that's how that guilt comes in. They're like, not only do I not want to feel like a jerk, but they might spit in my coffee if I don't tip. Right. And it's like, why do I have to tip if I'm just like, can I get a black coffee? And you just pour it out the spout and then you hand it to me. Like you didn't really do much, but please don't spit in my coffee. So here's 10%. Like, yeah. Right. Like just take it.
That's how we over there would just be taking my time. Be like,
yeah.
You making the coffee? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm still making my decision. I forgot my pen. Like something. Let's make sure you're halfway done doing my stuff. But yeah, I mean, I don't think we should be guilted. Let me tell you where I almost got guilted, but I didn't. I stood up for myself.
Oh, good for you.
Yes.
Round of applause.
Okay. This goes, and I'm gonna call someone out. Not someone, but a company. Starling. The Starling Hotel here in Atlanta, Georgia. Ooh, honey. Okay. So long story short, my air went out in my house. Had to take the kids, and everybody to stay at a hotel for the night because it was during the summer. It's 90 degrees outside. No one wants to sleep like that, especially me. So we packed up. We went and made reservations at the Starling Hotel. And when I pull up, when I got, the kids in the car, pull up to valet, and I'm like, hey, how much is valet? They're like, oh, it's $65 to valet my car. I'm like, okay, well, the parking deck, if you live here in Atlanta, the parking deck is attached to the hotel.
Well, and say what the hotel used to be so people have an idea.
Oh, it used to be the W in Midtown.
Right. So right off of, what was that? 14th Street.
Yeah, 14th Street. So, and then I was like, okay, well, how much is it just to park my car? Because I can just park it right there. They're like, it's $60. Oh, okay. So y'all really taxing over here on Midtown. And at this point it was like 9:00. So I was just like, you know what, just forget it. And so I had my stay and then, checked out the next morning and, the guy like pulled my car up and then he's kind of like standing there like he wants like a tip.
Sir, I know you're not asking for nobody's tip.
I had to tell him. I said, "Look, you're gonna have to talk to the hotel about your tip
Because they got your tip.
because I just paid $65 for one evening. You know, that's more than what I would cost me to put gas in my car.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not doing that. Like valet, y'all be tripping, tripping. I'm not paying 65. I'm not. You know, let me choose how I want to tip.
Right.
You know, that's a service, and then I can tip you 10. Hey, I might have a $10 on me. I might have that, or you know, I can do Cash App or something to tip you. But charging up, you know, up front $65 to park or just ride my car, you know, around. I'm not doing that. That's ridiculous.
Well, we've, you know, you and I have chatted about this before, is that I really, really, really feel that restaurants and hotels, like if you have valet, that should be on y'all. That like, and that's part of the customer experience. And if look, if you want to, you know, come out and say, okay, tip what you would like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But charging like I went to somewhere recently and they were like, oh, it's $20 and I have to park my own car.
Yeah. I mean, that's already taken away from your experience of going out to eat. You know, like, okay, I gotta pay for, you know, my parking or pay for valet or sometimes valet is the only option. And then go out to eat. And then I have to be confronted with this. So it's like, I already got to tip the people inside. I got to tip the people outside. Like, it's just like money, 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 money everywhere. Like, it's just like, there's no break.
Yeah.
In with our society nowadays.
Yeah. So like $65 for a hotel that's making millions of dollars, you know, a month just on stays, and then you're going to charge $65. First of all, $65 for valet is insane. And then $5 for $5 less. You can park your own car. Like what? No, like I'm sorry. I'm not like, I would have been like, I'm busting the UE.
Well,
and
that's
going
why,
out.
I mean, our air wasn't fixed till like a couple days later, but so we ended up staying at another hotel like for the next 2 days because I'm like, I'm not paying that per day. No way.
Who has money for that?
I mean,
if you come in for vacation into Atlanta and then you're like, and you just happen to stay at the Starling Hotel and then you got hit with a $65 a day valet or $60 for park your own car, like,
yeah, no,
that's more than what my car's worth.
I was like, pack it up, girls. We're sleeping at another hotel tonight.
We're sleeping in the car because that's about what I can afford. That's not happening. Yeah. So I think that like with hotels, restaurants, it's not always feasible, but they should really consider making sure that that's part of the customer experience. Don't let that take away from, you know, people revisiting your hotel or revisiting your establishment, your restaurant, because one, you have inadequate parking. So now you have to charge people, you know, a crazy amount of money, which you really don't. You should take that responsibility on.
Yeah.
You should, you know, take that, be like, okay, this is free parking. And, you know, if you want to tip on your way out, whatever you have, like whatever you feel comfortable tipping, then that should be like the procedure, not forcing people to pay, God forbid, $65. Are you out of your mind?
I'm fine with it. You know, I agree. Like restaurants, hotels should kind of take that on, but there's people out here who will kind of, you know, leave people in the lurch. Like at the end of the day, those are people providing a service to customers, and so they do have to pay. And if people can, you know, are some people out here that will get away with not paying,
right?
And you know, I don't want any, you know, a service to feel like we're always getting gypped or nobody ever, if they cannot pay, they won't. So you know, I'm fine with $5, $10. You know, that seems fair,
right?
And companies, you know, like you said, restaurants, new restaurants that are coming out. It's always a new restaurant popping up out here in Atlanta.
Restaurants don't stay out here long. I can tell you that for sure. Like
another topic. But you know, that's something that when you're building your business this is customer facing, and how does this experience translate to the customer
Right.
from the time they say they think about even coming to my establishment to the time that they leave and go home.
Right.
Is it memorable? Is it something that leaves a bad taste in their mouth and makes them not want to come back? Or are we doing something that makes them want to come back? And so I think, tipping, valet, all of that goes into the service of your business, no matter what it is, retail, whatever. Like, you should be thinking about the customer journey from beginning to end. And am I going to get a return customer based upon the experience that everybody has when they come into my establishment?
And no matter who the customer
No
is,
matter
right?
who the customer is.
Don't matter if you're somebody's celebrity, a housewife, a basketball player. Like, the service should be the exact same across the board,
Mhm.
and act like you want to be there. But you know what, Tiffany? That goes into our next episode, and we're not going to talk about that right now, okay? But next episode.
Yes.
But I will say we wrap it up here.
We did, and we didn't do it at the beginning.
Oh, we didn't do it. Oh my
But
God.
we're gonna get it together.
It
I
wasn't me.
promise.
It wasn't me, y'all. It wasn't me.
We're gonna get it together. So please like, subscribe,
Mhm.
follow us on Instagram at pleasehold_podcast, and we will see y'all next week.
Yep. Bye, guys.
Bye.